Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new video here to Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg, and today I'm not reviewing a movie, I'm not ranking a movie, I'm not talking about a show or a box office. I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doctor Doom for the big villain for the next two Avengers movies over the next couple of years. It was just announced at San Diego Comic-Con, and I wanted to take a couple days, get some clear thoughts on what I think about the casting, and I wanted to talk about it to you guys. So welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please subscribe and ring that bell. We're trying to get to 230 subscribers in the next week or two. So please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. It would mean so much to me. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Victor Von Doom, or Dr. Doom? We'll see which version of Doom he is. Do you like it? Did you not like it? Could this be the end of Marvel? Could this be Marvel getting back on track? Let me know your thoughts. Again, I want to have disagreements. It's fine to have disagreements, but let's have it in a very nice and respectful way. Also, if you want to subscribe, I do movie and TV show reviews, movie rankings, a box office show, and out of theater reactions. So please subscribe, ring the bell, and also please like the video, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So as I said, I was actually thinking about Saturday night when the news came out that Downey was cast as Doom. I should just come out and do a video. And I chose not to because I feel like we're at a point where I don't want to rush into an opinion, watch the video in 2 days, and then after sleeping on it, thinking about it more, talking to more people about it, I would have a totally different opinion and hate the video. So I took, as I said, a couple days to get my clear thoughts on this. And what I'll say is when he came out, I was definitely more positive, but more shocked. I was definitely shocked. I knew the Russo brothers made total sense they would come back and direct the next two Avengers movies. A lot of directors have been passing up the opportunity to direct those back-to-back Avengers films. Obviously, you have all the Kang drama, it's no longer going to be Avengers Kang Dynasty, and Jonathan Majors is done at Marvel. That I all knew. And but I want to say this right now. Things can change. I'm an open-minded person. I hope a lot of you out there, if you do or don't like the casting or have an open mind in, everyone can change their opinions because my reaction is based off the casting, not the execution of the performance, the story, the movies themselves. Because obviously, I'm just gonna say after that, I don't think this was a good idea for the MCU. This does reek of desperate. It does confuse a lot of people. And it just seems like if Marvel was not, first of all, obviously if the Jonathan Major stuff didn't happen, we wouldn't be in this situation. If Marvel was not coming off of, if this was like maybe after, even though it's post Endgame, if they were on a roll like they were at the time 5-6 years ago, then maybe people would be more open to it. And I think I would be more open to it. But we're at a point now where Marvel has really struggled. And the reason why this casting really probably happened was because Marvel doesn't have faith in the characters they've built up over the last 5 years, or even actors, because now they have to go back for nostalgia. I don't want to spoil any of the cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not even a week since the movie's been out, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But Marvel's in the nostalgia game right now. And I was definitely excited when I heard the announcement. I had to sleep on it. And then I kind of was talking to one of my roommates asked me about this casting, and I was trying to explain it to them. And then as I wasn't making a lot of sense. And the person asked me, it seems like really confusing. And I even stopped and said, I'm pretty confused on what I'm talking about. So for me, it's too desperate. They should have cast Dr. Doom. Like, for example, Kang is not a major character that even casual comic book fans know about. Yes, the diehards know about Kang, but I'm talking about casual comic book fans. I'm not like a read every comic type of guy, so I maybe fit in that realm. But I do think that Dr. Doom is one of the most famous, iconic comic book villains where they have that you don't need an A-list actor like this to sell the character or the movies, because Doom is such a iconic figure in pop culture revolving around, especially Marvel, but really around the Fantastic Four. And I think this also is disappointing because we've had 2 live action iterations of Dr. Doom that just haven't gone well. You have the Julian McMahon version from the Tim Story days of the Fantastic Four. And then you have whatever happened in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie with Toby Kebbell playing Victor Von Doom. We haven't gotten a proper Doctor Doom in live action yet. And maybe they could have done Downey as a variant of Doctor Doom if they have already established a really good Doctor Doom in our universe in 616, the 616 universe in the MCU. But there's been reports saying that he is a Tony Stark variant. He's not a Tony Stark variant. He's actually playing Victor Von Doom. Or if he is playing Victor Von Doom, are the other characters going to act like he looks like Tony Stark? Now, I'm not doubting that Robert Downey Jr. can pull this off. He's obviously a fantastic actor. He's my favorite performance and character in the whole MCU. Iron Man was always my favorite character of the MCU. I know a lot of people got off that train after Civil War, but I was actually on his train during Civil War. And Iron Man, such an iconic character that really did single-handedly kickstart the MCU, and that performance, taking that big of a swing, did it. But this might be even a bigger Hail Mary swing, because if this execution is not done well, Marvel is in big trouble. They've been trying to make these two Avengers movies for a while now. They had Destin Daniel Cretton originally, obviously, directing both movies, and he went off the project. There's reports that they offered it to Sean Levy. Now you have the Russo brothers making $80 million, whatever it is, on it, and Downey, who's already made so much money off the MCU, is getting paid even more than he already was. And Secret Wars is going to have, they said, near 70 characters in it. I don't know how this budget isn't near $500 million or more, just off the budget. I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. The more I've thought about it, the more I'm not liking it. Now that doesn't mean that when I watch the film, I have an open mind. If it's amazing, if Downey's doing a great job, if the story and the way they handle the character makes sense, then I'll get on board. But I'm reacting to the casting and my thoughts. This is just raw thoughts of me reacting to this casting. And again, Doctor Doom, yes, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are two of those franchises or characters that have meant a lot to me since I was a kid. Even though I grew up with the Tim Story movies, I never really thought those were great movies, but I would read comics or read stories about the Fantastic Four and get very excited. And same thing with the X-Men. I really did. That's why I really appreciate Deadpool Wolverine, because I grew up with the Fox X-Men movies. People grew up with the animated series, but I grew up with those live action movies and those comics during that time. So at this point, this does not get me excited. He's the villain of both Avengers movies. He should be in Fantastic Four as well. Galactus and Silver Surfer are both in that movie. Probably, I don't know if it's a post-credit scene. People are saying I really don't want him to be, if he's going to be Victor Von Doom, and they have to make him look different, because if the MCU characters are like, you kind of look like Tony Stark, I'm not sure that's going to work. I think the only thing that makes sense right now is to make him a Tony Stark variant who turns into Doctor Doom, because I don't know if Downey doing Victor Von, it sounds too confusing. Either they're going to make the characters look stupid if they see someone look like Tony Stark and they don't react to it, or they do even say he looks like Tony Stark and the movie gets even dumber. So yeah, this is a frustrating one for me. They had a pretty okay Comic-Con. They did some things with the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four and Captain America. And they're trying to build momentum to these two Avenger movies. But I don't know what it's not getting me excited as I wanted to be. I was excited the night where my phone was blowing up, and it was cool to see everyone on Twitter, everyone reacting to a big casting move for the MCU. We have not seen something like that in 5-6 years from the MCU, where this many people are going on social media reacting to something at Hall H at Comic-Con, because DC didn't do anything really that special at Comic-Con. Feige coming back now, yes, they are doing D23, and I'm excited that hopefully Marvel can make more announcements, and they are with Feige at D23 to really clear some things up. And I totally get why the Russo brothers are back. They are 4 for 4. They've maybe made the 4 best or 4 of the best MCU movies with Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. But another sad part is during that time in the MCU, they were building up a lot of talent. For example, again, for the Russos, for example, they weren't doing the first two Avengers movies. They got Winter Soldier. Feige then said, well, I know Civil War is not an Avengers, but it kind of feels like an Avengers movie. So Feige said, let's test you out, not with an Avengers movie, but kind of like an Avengers movie. How are you going to handle all these characters? And then they did Infinity War and Endgame, but they just haven't developed any talent over the last 5 years. They've gotten some people with nostalgia, like Sam Raimi, to do Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Other than James Gunn doing the Guardians, very separate. You have, they wanted to do that with Destin Daniel Cretton, who not just already has the Booster Gold show to do, but he's also doing Shang-Chi too. They wanted to give him the two Avengers movies off of Shang-Chi. And he even had to pass it down, even though he's not mad at Marvel. He just wants to focus on those two other projects. They basically gave him 4 projects. And again, these Marvel movies, especially the Avengers, take years because it's back-to-back movies. That's supposed to be about one come out in 2026, the next one come out in 2027, just like Infinity War and Endgame, when you shoot them back-to-back. But they just haven't developed. You had the Oscar people like Chloe Zhao coming to do the Eternals. You still had Peyton Reed for Ant-Man, but they weren't giving Peyton Reed an Avengers movie. They used to really develop talent early on at Marvel. And I think they have kind of gone away from that in the recent years and kind of kept directors to their franchise, which doesn't get them really that excited to do 2 Avengers movies. It's such a long haul to do both movies. And I like that they are trying to stay consistent, like Ryan Coogler for Black Panther or John Watts for those 3 Spider-Man movies. But this, and Taika doing the last 2 Thor movies, for example. The Russo brothers, again, they also are desperate because they have not done well outside of the MCU since Endgame. Now, yes, Extraction are pretty great movies, but those are more, even though one of the Russo brothers is a writer on those movies and they're both producers, that's more of an action-heavy movie than actually a story or script being great. The Gray Man I had some fun with, but it's a pretty forgettable action movie. Cherry, I really didn't like. So they've been really just bad since Endgame. Yeah, now, and yes, Downey also has not been good out of the MCU since he started in 2008. He did The Judge. Not a lot of people saw that or cared about that movie. Now, yes, the big thing was he did win the Oscar for Oppenheimer. And I think that got him to be beyond Tony Stark. I think he didn't want to be shoehorned for the rest of his career as Tony Stark. So he got the Oppenheimer, which is a totally different character. And as I said in my review of Oppenheimer, that was my favorite performance in the movie. And he's tremendous, deserved the Oscar. But now he's at a point where now he got nominated for the Emmy for The Sympathizer. No one's talking about that show whatsoever. That kind of just got swept right under the rug. It feels like everyone needed each other, but I don't think this benefits the fans as of now. I need to see trailers. I need to see what it comes down to is now the only good news is the writers, the half of the writing team that did Endgame are back to write this movie. So with McFeely and Marcus. So they're back. They're very veteran MCU writers. They did Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier, First Avenger, and Thor, and Thor: The Dark World. Now they did write The Gray Man, which is not a great script, but I'm saying from an MCU perspective, they really only missed one of those movies. So I trust the writing team, but boy, do they need to hit. And this is not just an okay, good story fit. This has to be executed so well that it makes casual fans and the hardcore fans like it. So yes, will Robert Downey Jr. help sell this movie? Yes. I just don't know from a budgetary perspective how they're going to make money off these Avengers movies. Is that, with Infinity War and Endgame, the MCU had so much momentum because all of the movies that were leading up connected, were good, and it made sense. But we're at a point where they've done so many one-off stories. Like now they're bringing back the Eternals storyline into Captain America. We have not had a mention of Shang-Chi since his movie. From a show perspective, Moon Knight has not shown up anywhere. Even Loki has not shown up in the big movies. I'm trying to keep thinking out loud. The Marvels, whatever, Secret Invasion, they all feel one-offs to me. They don't feel like these interconnected stories. Now, yes, some people got tired of the MCU wheel, but I think people are realizing that the MCU took some big swings. Artistic directors who did their own thing, and getting off that Marvel wheel has affected a lot of people's faith. And again, you can base off my opinion, I'm not fully trusting Marvel. And I haven't said that in 5 years, but it's just you can't trust them at this point. And this does reek of desperate. So that's my thoughts. That's my raw thoughts. Again, I don't hate this, but I'm very skeptical of Downey. Again, can Downey pull off Dr. Doom? Of course he can. He's one of the best actors. He's a tremendous actor. There's no doubt about that. But can it make sense where it's not distracting and it elevates the stories? Because one of the Avengers movies is named Doomsday, and that obviously will focus heavily on this character. And Secret Invasion is supposed to be a 70+ character and Marvel of the list of Marvel characters. I just don't know how they're going to budget all these movies and make a profit. And I don't know how the stories are going to make sense. So I'm very skeptical. I hope we get more announcements and things. But at this point, I'm not here to say I love this or think it's a good idea. As of now, I'm saying it's a bad idea. I think they could have cast anyone as Doom. Now, yes, would it get this pop culture sensation of a reaction? No, but I think Marvel is kind of going to be surprised, I think, that how divisive the fan base was. I think they were assuming that everyone was going to love this because everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. if you're an MCU fan, but more people than not are not liking this, and they are going to have 2 years to get momentum back for the MCU, to get you excited for these 2 movies, and to get you excited for Downey coming back as Dr. Doom. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your full thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.